Hello, my name is Ellen and welcome to my channel. We're doing some simple, fun, super easy winter doodles so you can make into Christmas cards or just even winter cards, holiday greeting cards. I go over this step by step, super fun and easy, playing with different techniques at watercolor, wet on wet, wet on dry, and splattering and just adding some elements and just talking about how you can just take something simple and create some cards from it. So let's go paint. Alright, so this is a simple and fun watercolor tutorial, especially if you're a beginner, and even if you're a skilled person, you're gonna have fun playing with this. So I'll be using Arch paper, 100% cotton cold press. This was a sheet, it was like a 9 by 12 sheet that I just folded in half, and I have this half size, and I'll fold this in half or cut it in half once I'm finished with it. We're gonna do a simple, fun watercolor doodle. I did something like this last year with the winter doodles. We're going to do something a little bit different, add some more snowflake elements, etc. Have some like white watercolor close by, or some white gouache, and some gold watercolor. I have it in the tube. I also have these pan ones. These get pretty thick once you actually, activate them. I like to spray a little guys to activate them. And that's that. So I just taped it on a piece of cardboard, so if I want to play around with it, or just I don't want to move around too much, I'm just going to grab a really simple floppy brush, number 12 Princeton Neptune series, and start mixing some colors. Now I really wanted to keep blues because it's snowflake kind of scenario, and obviously ultramarine blue deep is pretty, but it's just not dark enough. I can add some Paynes gray to that and get almost like a navy color, and even more gray to that. I'm going to be playing with that kind of color, blues, different kind of blues, and even a different color blue. So we have Prussian blue, this different scenario, then this color, really kind of bright. So we can start off just getting it wet, even just getting it wet. If you want to get the whole thing wet, just grab this, a big flat wash brush. This is 2 inches. I'm just going to across the whole sucker. Really kind of do this quickly. You can make like a million cards this way. You can do a bigger sheet, or a much bigger sheet, and then cut it up in 4s. This is a fast way to make some nice, fun watercolor cards. Not so serious. If you're really stressed out and you're angry, this is good. And then you're just kind of playing with the color. Here, I'm just kind of taking some stripes. All right, and I get that Paynes gray in there. Thicker paint. Get a little darker in some areas. Just do some stripey kind of work here. You can do some circle work. So mixing the 2 colors again. Look at that. Now we can grab that Prussian blue. It's like a different color. I'll water it down a little bit. So you've got some different blues happening in here. Makes it more interesting, don't you think? And while it's really wet, we can kind of play with moving the paint around. So we get 2 different blues. I'm going to get some more paint, the the ultramarine blue deep and the Paynes gray. Look at that. Do some bigger circles. How much time is this taking me? 0 circles. And there's a reason why I have white watercolor. We're going to do some fun splattering, and it's going to create some really kind of cool effect. And you can also have salt close by. I have some salt, like kosher salt. The thing about the salt is you have to wait till it completely dries before you take it off. So we got these 2-tone blues. Now you can also try and play with a little alcohol spray. I think I lost my alcohol spray. But you can put just actual rubbing alcohol on your spray, and it kind of just dissipates like this. So you can use a spray bottle and play with moving the paint around just by tilting it. That's why I put it taped down on something. Have this kind of bleed, do some wild stuff, and the paint's moving, and it's just going in different areas. I'm going to go back and grab my blue and my Paynes gray. So again, like this navy deep kind of color. I can do like a stripe. Can make some fun things with that. And move the paint a little bit. Put another one over here and another one here. Now it's super wet, right? We're gonna let that sit. We need that guy to sit. I'm gonna lift this paint up with a paper towel. Now I can grab my white watercolor, or even gouache, by the way. If you don't have white watercolor, maybe a white gouache, one or the other. Grab some of that. We don't want to add too much water to it to get this fun effect. Grab whatever brush you have, a bigger brush, make some bigger splatters. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to this. Still fairly thick though, more like cream consistency. I always slap my brush I'm going to splatter with on top of another brush or a pen. Now don't go crazy, you don't want to splatter this everywhere. Strategic. And look at it, it's already doing this, like separating, creating this funky kind of look. It's already doing the work for you. Look at that. Woo, you can even move it around. Look how cool that looks. You can even play with some gold, like I talked about earlier. This gold watercolor is actually so thick, it's almost like gouache. And the gold will do the same thing. So that's me shaking up my brush. Doesn't have much water on this guy. We can try and see if we can splatter some of this gold. And see what that does. And just let that sit. And you let it sit and you let it dry. There are some little fun things you can play with by lifting color. This is wet on wet, right? It's seeping into this paper. If you want to lift color, whoops, I will use a Princeton 8 long round. You can make some fun little, almost like snowflakes by lifting the paint, tapping back on the paper towel. Because it has a point to it. It's still seeping in because it's very, very wet. So I've got like the cross. Let's see, doesn't want to play. So the paint's doing its thing. Look at this area. This is the coolest. It's like tie-dye. I went and grabbed some white watercolor, a little thicker, and just I'm doing some taps in the dark area, the circle. Now it might so totally dissolve, but it's so fun to see this and see what happens. Just tapping that in a circle. It's thick. It's like almost right out of the tube. Tap, 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 tap. You can put some music on. Okay, I think I'm done enough little taps for this. We're gonna let this sit and dry and we're gonna come back. Okay, at this point, since you know you're probably gonna cut well, you can make the cards vertical or horizontal. Maybe we'll make them horizontal. You could flip it this way if you wanted to paint all the wonderful doodles, and then cut it this way so you're making a vertical card. This way we make a horizontal card. And now we're just going to paint some simple shapes with this, with the white watercolor or the gouache or even the gold paint. So I would use, look at my Princeton No. 4 liner brush here. It's right here. And I'll grab my white watercolor, just put some water on it. I want it thick enough that I can move it. I mean, thin enough that I can move it and thick enough that it shows up more. So a liner brush is perfect. And you can start wherever. You can start, like I started making that snowflake, but it didn't work out. Lifting, it's not going to work out. And you can water it down so if you want it more translucent, or you really want a wonderful snowflake. So just a line down, of course. We do these crisscrosses. Crisscross applesauce, and that's a simple one. You can make it more a little bit more advanced by adding a little lines out here, right? And you can get even more festive by adding even more. Just a doodle. We could add a tree. It's going down here, the line. Let's start to go like this up into a triangle shape. Right? And you can do little V's coming off that. So line, 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 line. Go 1, 2, 3, and then in the bottom. Do the lines like this. And like this. You can add some more on the bottom. So lines slanting like this and then kind of doing the bottom. Simple tree like that, right? I'll zoom in and show you again. Let's put one down here. Just a simple line. I love the liner brush. And you're going to go in a triangle. Leave some space in between. And you're just doing a line slanting. However many you can fit in that little line going towards the stem here. Same way on the other side. And then the bottom goes the opposite way. You can sit here and paint these doodles. Put some Christmas music on. Put little dots in here, make a little difference. See, put a little dot in the center, dot in the bottom. That's a different looking tree. Let's do some dots going around this. You can put a snowflake in there. Again, white. Got the gold behind there. It's kind of pretty. Can add the same little lines here. Enhance it. Do trees. You can do a tree, just little lines like this, going downward, like this. Again, it's a doodle. And maybe some smaller circles here, up in here, and add a snowflake, crisscross, applesauce. Do another one here. Here's the snowflake coming out of the circle. So you have like 3 snowflakes. Again, put a dot in the center. Dots on like outside of the circle. You can sit here and doodle all day long. Dot in the center. Dots outside the edge of this circle. We're having fun doing little doodles. Right? This tree, you can see that if the tree is dissipating, you can add like thicker. You can use gouache. See how it's translucent now? You don't really see that white. It's like a. You can go back in here and add some dots on the ends of these little snowflakes. Like if you really want to see it more, you might want to use gouache. And then for the gold, we can play around with the gold. I can loosen up this gold or the other gold. Same type of tree scenario. So maybe go like this. And again, the lines going up into a triangle, separating that. And the gold will really show. Just go like this. You can slightly draw a triangle, maybe over here, if you know where your triangle is going to be. And then we'll just do little dash lines, again, going into that triangular shape. Just little dashes, going up into a triangular shape. And then we have a little tree that's gold. You could do another one that's going down here. How about some squirrels? Ooh, wiggle. This brush isn't great to move that way, but you can play around with it. Or a smaller, skinnier brush that you find that works well for you to do these little squirrels. Wiggles and scrolls. And then in between that, you can add some dots. You can get real festive with this. Again, just do some simple lines. We could do outlines of ornaments, all kinds of things. Dots, gold dots, dashes. Put some gold on the snowflake. Again, just simple dots going in a circle. Like I said, we could draw an ornament. Simple ornament. Put another one here. Put one up and around here. We're just adding the gold. And they just have curved lines for stripes. You get real festive with this. I am lucky one of my pans has this white sparkly metallic paint. So I could play with this. It's like silver actually. So we can do silver and gold, but it looks more white. And do snowflakes with that. So it's two-tone metallic. We can add different color metallics. There's different golds over here. It doesn't always have to be snowflakes, but they're so simple to do and so effective. And the trees are nice too. I have different metallic golds here. Varieties. This one's really kind of intense. And then I've got a lighter one next to it. So I'm activating that. So I can do another. I like the curly swirly tree. I like that one. The curly Q. You can do the same thing with the white. I find that the white watercolor dissipates too much, so I would switch up to a gouache. It's going to be more opaque and really show through more. So activate the gouache, just a little bit of water, and it's going to show up much better for like a snowflake. I have a little water on my paper, or even a tree. I'm going to do that tree again. Just a tiny one. It's much better than the white watercolor in my opinion. And I'll do some snowflakes here. Just go around your paper and put snowflakes and dots. I like this kind of like circular, funky pattern. You can do white in between the gold like I'm doing here. And same thing with the ornament. Highlight it so you can see it. Go down here. Let's make a tree that little dashes going like this. Can do some squirrels around this circle here. I'm going to go fix this snowflake a little bit more, highlight it some more. You can see it. The tree, we lost the tree. I put another snowflake here. See, the gouache really works much better than the white watercolor. But if you don't have it and you have that, you just work with it. Just keep going. You fill up your paper. And you can get intricate as much as you want. Gonna go through here, put a lot of snowflakes in. Do some white dashes, dots. I'm doing another one of those white curly Q trees. Just curly Q. My curls are kind of out of it on this one. I don't find the liner brush to be one that maneuvers well with curvature lines. You have to kind of manipulate it. And I might go back and look at this snowflake. I'm going to do some little dots on that. Make it more interesting. Dots around here. Again, this ornament, highlight it. You can do a little star on the tree. This one here. And like, see, we have this little weird dash lines. We can put some of those weird white dash lines here. Again, it's a doodle. It's just a winter doodle. So there could be patterns of dots. Stripes, lines, and circles. 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 Almost like fish bubbles. Do some dots. I like the dots upon the lines. Again, little dots. Dots on these snowflakes that are kind of dissipating. Little teeny snowflakes. Dots around that. Some of these lines just kind of faded to a distance. So I'll fix those and do some dots out here. The whole point is just to fill it all in as much as possible. Have a lot of fun. Lines, wiggles, trees. Even little dots out here. And I can do the same thing with the gold. Tinier snowflakes. Just simple ones. And I'll go in and grab some gold paint and do the same thing. I find this tube paint is really thick. It's almost like gouache. So it works very well. I'm just doing some simple snowflakes. Fix my little curves here on my tree. Maybe add some little dots here on the tree. Make it interesting. Dots around. So dots and lines and dots. You can make yourself crazy. Put some dots on the ends of this tree. Going up. Make it interesting. Put a dot in the center of that white snowflake. And we can do some dash lines here, just like we did with the white. You just want to fill this whole thing in with pattern. Whatever you get. That's interesting. You can also splatter too, because that would be a little bit interesting too. Just a few more snowflakes and patterns, and I think we're done. We can cut it up and put it on for 2 cards. Just adding a little more dots. I like the dots. Now, to make it look like snow has been snowing everywhere, like it kind of is, just take some white watercolor, more gouache. Don't do a lot, just a little bit. Little teeny splatter. And then it just has that wonderful pattern. And then we're going to just let it dry and cut it up into 2 pieces and have these beautiful cards. Really simple. Look how nice that looks. Once it's done, I would just fold it in half. This is how I get my, people ask me all the time, how do you get that kind of rippled edge? That's what I do. I kind of fold it in half and then fold it in half, back and forth. And there's your rippled edge. And how cool is that? Get some stock, cardstock, and you already have 2 wonderful winter cards, little doodled abstract cards. Super cool. You could add a gold border on it. You could put a name. You could put like a gold, even just a gold stripe across here, and add Merry Christmas. So once you finish this, like I said, you can just take gold paint or even gold marker. This paint is pretty thick, so I would go across here just a simple line like this over your stuff. And then with the marker, you can write Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays when it dries. It's up to you. You can do that with or without it. I think it's kind of cool. Just have like something simple like that. Just a gold bar going down here, or you can have it in the middle like that. So just like I said, grab a marker and you just write Merry Christmas. And you have some really cool cards. Right? Simple, fast, easy. Do a white bar on that one. I think it's kind of cool. You don't have to have it on black paper. You could have it on white paper or whatever. Simple doodles, super easy cards, super fun to make. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Have fun, play, de-stress by painting with watercolor. You're just doing simple shapes, dots, lines, dashes, and just wet on wet the color. You could throw salt in there. You can do whatever you want. Hope this was fun for you. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.